Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual program. And I just want to start the program out with our guests. So we are sharing videos. So Jason, I'm going to just turn mine off so that you can have the focus. And when you want me to bring up that page, just let me know. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for putting some time for yourself for education. This is going to be a great program. Jody is definitely my favorite instructor here. I know you're in for a great program today. I just wanted to say hello and really just being available to you as members to be a resource for what's going on in the world with coronavirus and make sure you're aware of the resources that GBAR is putting out for you. It's a really uncertain time for all of us. We don't know day by day what's going to happen next, and we're not even really clear as to what the effects of the state stay-at-home advisory and business shutdown order is. So we're still trying to get clarification on that for you. In fact, I'm in another hangout at the same time with the Government Affairs Committee for Massachusetts Association of Realtors, having that conversation as we work diligently on that. But I'll tell you, we're here for you. We are doing everything we can to support your ability to facilitate transactions and try and answer really unprecedented questions regarding your fiduciaries and your obligations to your clients and customers. Jody, would you please pull up that website?
Yeah.
So if you go to gbar.org or greb.com, if you're not familiar, they're the same website, gbar.org, and click on the resources tab, you will come to this page, the Realtor's Guide to Coronavirus Concerns. One of the most useful tools here that I found is the Massachusetts Registry of Deeds office status, as well as the smoke and seal detector inspection by community. Really happy to share that Boston, as of right now, any scheduled inspections will continue to happen. They're performed by uniform officers, and they are considered essential personnel. They're not taking new inspection orders at this point, but they are going to complete the orders that were already in. So come here, review it. We're also putting out a lot of information on our Facebook page, so be sure you check that out. And sort of the last thing I want to ask people, right now we are definitely in a position where the hospitals that provide support for us are short on personal protective equipment. Coming out later today, we'll be sending out some information on how you might be able to help with getting some of that information through the people that you have in your network. Those people might be estheticians, manicurists, pedicurists, painters, people who work in body shops, anywhere where they're exposed to fumes or work in close quarters. And those people probably have a supply of masks, especially maybe face shields. We're going to get you information on how, who you might think of contacting and some information you can pass out to them to get that supply to the right hospitals. Brigham and Women's Hospital and the Cambridge Health Alliance in particular have put out numerous statements about their desperate need. MGH is also in need. So we'd ask you to take a few minutes, call your database, use this as a touch point, use this as a way to connect with people outside of business and bring that human element to them, while also doing good and doing something positive during this time of real uncertainty. So Jody, thank you for this time to say hi to the membership, and I'm sure this is going to be a great program.
Thanks, Jason, for keeping us as up to date as possible. I am sure this was not what you were expecting for your year of presidency. I was joking the other day. I had always said up until this point, I thought Laurie Cadigan, the year of the blizzards, over and over again, had one of the worst years as presidency. I think you got her beat, Jason.
That's not a title I want.
Yeah, I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure it isn't.
Together, and really, I just want everyone to know that there's a lot of people working in government affairs right now on our behalf to keep our business afloat. And I know this is a hard message to share right now, but that's what our RPAC investments are all about. So this is really, for someone who's been a major investor for a long time, seeing some of that investment pay off and our ability to keep doing business. It's really what it's all about. So I
And
really
we
think
cannot stress enough to everyone to make sure they are logging on that page that we just showed you, logging onto the website, reading their emails. Things are changing every minute. And so Jason, his entire team, your entire leadership and staff at Greater Boston, as well as the state and national associations, are working hard to keep you informed. So keep reading, listening, watching, whatever you need to do. Thanks, Jason.
Have a great program, guys. I wish I could stick around. Bye.
Thank you very much. So I want to, before we start, just share with you, everyone. So, and good morning to everyone. But I know that almost all of you are familiar with this platform. We have been doing the CE classes on here. I don't know for how long we've been doing it, and we've been doing the webcast version for over a year. But that said, it's entirely possible that some people are not familiar. If you haven't realized already, by the way, first of all, it's unusual that I have my camera on. You typically only hear me. But secondly, if you logged on, you may have noticed that you are muted, and that is so you're on listen only mode. We have over 200 of members from the Greater Boston Association of Realtors on at this point, so it's a big group. So I just sent out a chat message for you. So you'll notice, everyone, on your toolbar, this screenshot shows the toolbar on the right, but it depends upon what device you're on or where you put it. You can actually move your toolbar around. So you might see this toolbar on the bottom of your screen. You might see it at the top of your screen. It depends upon exactly which device you are on. But you will notice that audio has a slash through it, the little microphone, so you're muted, but you should be able to chat. You can see the question mark, which says ask a question, and that's to send me information. But I just sent you out a chat message, which should allow you, everyone, to kind of interact with each other on the chat. And so if I could ask you to send questions to me, and if you want to just make comments or things for everyone else to see, to put them in the chat feature there. And I'm crossing my fingers, everyone, because we've had those features off for so long because of the nature of CE. That we weren't using them, but hopefully everything is kind of working out now. And then right below questions, you'll see what looks like a little stack or sheaf of paper. And in that paper category, there's handouts, and I actually have 2 handouts in there for you. So I'll be referencing them there, but at any point in time, you can click them. They're both PDF files. Oh, we just clicked back, and Sandy, you're on. Did you just put your camera on?
Good morning, everybody.
Sandy, do you want to tell us something while you're on? No. But oh, she logged off too quickly. I was going to say, here are the times we're living in. Good morning to everyone from our dining rooms. All right. And I'll explain, because I've been working at home for over 10 years now. So I'll explain in just a minute, actually, why I'm standing here in my dining room from that aspect. But so there are handouts there. I'm going to also make them available to Sandy just in case someone can't figure out kind of clicking and downloading, or maybe you're on a mobile device and you haven't been able to utilize that. So I'm glad that for the most part we have been utilizing. I don't know why that keeps wanting to pop up there. There we go. We've been utilizing the virtual platforms for a while now. So again, I think everyone is kind of there. Just checking. So good morning, everyone. And T says it doesn't look like the chat's interactive. Can someone send out use the chat, not the question box? I sent it out. It's where I sent good morning to you. Is it? You can see the comments, but you can't reply. Okay, but you can see them. All right, so I got one step done. I'll work on the next step from there. Jim, can you see them? Some of you are saying no. Okay. We know it's not interactive, everyone, but the question is, can you see each other's comments? So we're hoping this. When you send it in the question box, you definitely don't have the opportunity to see them. All right. Okay. So we'll see if we can kind of work on the background of that, everyone, and see if we can get you being able to interact with each other from the background. But for right now, the question box is just what kind of everyone is going to me from that. So again, we'll work on it. If you, some of you are commenting that you can see the chat messages from each other. You just can't interact with them. Some of you can't see them at all on the chat messages. So again, we'll kind of work on the background in regards to those things to kind of keep you going and kind of interact. So let me, there we go. Let me get on and kind of talk about some of this information that I want to really kind of get out to you. As I mentioned before, everyone, why are we just going along here? I have been working at home since 2009, early 2009. And as you can imagine, because I think you're living it right now, it was not a normal environment for myself. It probably certainly isn't for you as well. And it was somewhat disturbing and disruptive in that aspect. And it took me a while to kind of figure out how it was. Now, I do get out and about, and I get out into the classroom with all of you, and I get out onto conferences and conventions, and I do a tremendous amount of traveling over the last few years to interact. But I could have long stretches, you know, a week or 2 weeks, or even in some cases, almost 4 weeks, where I am literally working in my office. The question was getting working and getting doing. And one of the things I had to remind myself is that I did have a job and that I did have work to do. And just because I wasn't out there interacting with people, I wasn't going to an office every day, I wasn't going out to meet buyers and show property or meet sellers to take listings and etc., that there was a lot of things to my business that I could be working on. And I'm reminded of many sayings of my mother, who was really one of the probably the biggest doer as I have ever seen in my life. And so I looked at that and I said, how do I organize my life and how do I get going? So I'm working that old, I think it's a Floyd Wickman saying that, working on my business, not in my business. So one of the first things I put up here was a wonderful quote from Thomas Jefferson, who said, you don't want to know if you want to know who you are, don't ask, act. Actions will delineate and define you. And I'm going to expand just a little bit on that. And I'm going to tell you that your actions today, and at least for us here in Massachusetts, the next 2 weeks, as we are basically, I know they tell me not to use the shelter in place term because that's not technically what we are, but we are basically not listed as one of the essential businesses. So we will be in our houses. The actions we take right now will define what our business is in the future. Or maybe I should even go down just a teeny tiny bit down the pessimistic road of what my business is not in the future. Yeah, I don't want to go any farther down that road, and I hope you don't either. I hope that's why you're all on this call. The call is being also recorded, everyone, so people can listen to it later. So if you're listening to us later, I hope that's true as well. that you don't want to go down a road of not having a business, that you want to, when this is over, and it will be over, that we go back to a business that maybe isn't exactly the same, but a business that can thrive because it has survived. So we want to start to take action. So this, by the way, everyone, the actual outline of this program was not new. I told Sandy Cravens when she reached out to me right away, I said, it's lucky that I am a course hoarder, that I probably have every program I've ever written on my computer database. As a matter of fact, I have so many of them. I have several cloud storage places as well that keep them. So all I did was freshen this up to today's environment. And as I said, I'm going to interplay some things, sort of lessons I've learned from the type of environment that we're in, that, that many of you are finding yourself in the new. So really the first thing that I want to address, everyone, is setting the stage for productivity. So I want to mention why I am actually literally standing in the edge of my dining room here, because I currently am not in the stage of productivity. And I actually am worse than when I first started working from home, in that environment, when I literally had no stage set up, so to speak, no office really set up. And I found it very difficult to get down to work when I was used to going to a place with a desk and equipment and everything that I needed, and et cetera. And why I'm not there now is because typically January into the beginning of February is my slower period of time. And I was looking at what many of you have seen on many of my videos, my hot pink wall, my sort of magenta wall that I've used as a backdrop for many years in my videos. I decided I was over it, and I wanted to do, and the project just blew up, as most do, into a major office overhaul. And then I found myself in this environment with some not really able to exist in this little temporary space that I have. So it's really kind of chaos, and I can't wait to get my office kind of settled in. But one of the first tips I would say to you is, what's your environment? Where have you decided that you're going to spend at least the next 2 weeks working on your business? It can be the dining room table. And again, that's why I was laughing when you saw Sandy at hers as well. I don't have any problem with that. But one of the things I will say is set it up semi-permanently, everyone's, because again, we're in here for at least 2 weeks, we know. And, make sure you have the tools you need. So take the half an hour or the hour, reach out to people if you don't know exactly what you are going to use. I've reached out to a number of people over the past week or so to help me set up, in essence, this sort of virtual stage for you to be able to kind of interact with me. So I think that's significant, and you need to kind of set up your environment. I'll share with you another lesson I learned really early on in my importance of my environment, and that was to make sure my environment was organized. And to keep that organization going, I had to, as sort of Marie Kondo would say, tidy up every evening, right? When I was kind of finished working, if you just started leaving things here and a Post-it note there and, a little piece of paper over here, the next thing you know, it quickly develops into chaos, and you can't find that really important telephone number for the mortgage officer for the loan that you're going to try to close next week, and et cetera. And so it's really important to stay as organized as possible. I've chosen to put much of my information online as possible and to use some online platforms. And many of you have heard me talk about these things for a long period of time. I've been talking about them in the classrooms. One is Evernote, everyone, which I love to use. I call it my brain on steroids. And it's a cloud-based note-keeping, file-keeping. It keeps any kind of document you want. It syncs to your phone, your tablet, your computer immediately. So you can get it from any of those places, and you literally can keep anything. And if you're a filer like myself, you can create as many files and sub files, etc., that you want. And if you're a piler, you know, because I say there's two types of people in this world, filers and pilers. If you're a piler, it works just as well because the search feature is fabulous. All right. I think it almost puts Google to shame. If you can remember anything that's in the document, it will most likely find it. So you don't even have to remember the title of the document that you had. So Evernote is one great piece that I have used and kind of shared over the period of time that works really well. The other thing in sort of setting the stage is I want to share with you is that something that I found really helpful was setting a schedule. And it's funny because many of you probably have read, I have as well online, about people talking about getting up and getting dressed and etc. Yeah, I'm actually a firm believer of it. Getting up, I also make my bed, another attribute from my mother all the time. Get showered, get dressed. I'm not saying anybody needs to be in business clothes. You can be in comfy wear, but do all those things early, set a schedule, set a routine. I also like to, this is often where I find myself kind of a little woo-woo in some cases. But I love to set a very early morning schedule. And again, I mean early, but early to you is at the very beginning of your schedule. I meditate. I use the app called Calm, C-A-L-M. By the way, Calm has something else in it that I'll speak about later on that I think is really important in this environment that they are. I do some reading. I do some motivational reading. So motivational, spiritual, whichever it is that you have. And then I do a little educational reading. So I always have a book going and I read a chapter or so. And I spend about half an hour to 45 minutes on that routine, kind of sets my day. I think I'm pretty sure I saw Nora Lynch on. And so Nora, giving you a shout out. But Nora, because I'm guessing you can probably find it really quickly. If you can find the link to Mel Robbins' journal that she has given out in the past for free, the page to her journal, I actually used the actual journal. But Mel very graciously, everyone last year, put a PDF file of her journal online. And so if Nora doesn't find it and we don't get it shared with you, everyone, it's melrobbins.com, and then you'll have to look for her journal post. It's a PDF. I'm sure it's there for sale as well. And I'm certainly not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to give you access. And Mel's journal kind of sets this activity up as well, which I really like as well. So we'll see if we can get your hands on that for you as well. So you can share some of the, some of the aspects of setting up a routine. This part also reminds me of kind of setting the stage for things, reminds me of a quote that I love, which says, "The funny thing about dreams is they come dressed in overalls in the form of work." Yeah. If your dream is to create a business that survives this and thrives, then we have to get working. And that's clearly something that we need to do. And don't get me wrong, everybody. I know it's really easy to get distracted and or even a little sort of emotional or depressed about it, but activity cures a lot of those things. So keep looking at it, keep trying to move forward on that. The next is I would say to you is prioritize. And I would also prioritize in the aspect of what information I need to know. So I know a lot of you have been reaching out. Some of you have jumped on my brand new page that I created with 3 friends of ours. As in the midst of this, we were creating a podcast for you called In Other Words. And we went live on Facebook the other day, and a lot of agents were, by the way, going to be live on Facebook tomorrow too as well. So you can find us on Facebook at, in other words, RE. So, and you'll see my face along with my friends Lee York, Evan Fuchs, and Brett Lancaster. And many of you were your biggest concerns were also some of your biggest priorities. What happens to my seller? What happens to my buyer? What happens to the sale in progress, right? And those are significantly important issues that you need to understand. But what I would suggest to you is make sure you have priorities to that. I have about 6 airline reservations that I need to cancel and or change, everyone. But I'm trying to prioritize them and only reach out to the airlines, like, you know, when I need to, or they, you know, take a sort of a quick amount of time as everyone starts to do that. So we have seen, we now have the emergency smoke detector bill passed here in Massachusetts because that was becoming a priority in essence to you. But take a look at your active buyers, your active sellers, your active transactions, and put those things in priority and reach out to people to get accurate information on those things. And I mean accurate, what I mean is, everyone, don't ask questions on Facebook. You're getting non-specific, non-industry answers in many cases. Reach out to your broker owner, reach out to the association, reach out to the actual company, the title, the attorney, the mortgage company, the moving company, et cetera, because the information is so specific and it's also changing so on a regular day. So my priority would probably be calls that I need to make. And those are things that I think are really important. If you have not gone over to the handout section and downloaded your handouts, one of those things I think, which I was given, I don't know, probably more than 20 years ago, everyone, from Judy Kent. She was a manager at Kinlan Grover down here on Cape Cod, and she, prior to that, was a selling real estate agent, and she shared this list with me, this very simple technique she had for creating her to-do list. Every Sunday evening, Judy would sit down and create her list of 3. And I spiffed it up a little for you, and I created it over in the handout section for you again. And every Sunday night, Judy would look at 3 buyers she needed to contact, 3 sellers she needed to contact, and 3 transactions she needed to follow up on. And that was her to-do list for the week, right? That really forces you to prioritize. It really forces you to focus. And most importantly, it really focuses to communicate. If you're wondering today how you accomplish some of these things, imagine how buyers and sellers feel right now, right? They are looking for information. So get them the information, get out in contact with them, you know, make sure you are communicating with them. By the way, there's probably hundreds of potential buyers and sellers there who are going to call you today or tomorrow or et cetera, that now aren't sure of what to do. So get out your prospect list, get out your CRM, get out your past buyers and sellers, and think about putting them in a priority position as well to kind of reach out and touch with them and see what's going, you know, from there. And talking about priority, let me jump over here and take a look at the questions. I apologize for leaning forward a little, everyone, but my monitor is just in a really bad place, somewhere between my distance vision and my close-up vision here. Yeah. So Larry says, you know, check your CRM, everyone. It has to-do lists. So start putting everything over into your CRM program. That's really good from there. So the Facebook page, Elizabeth, is In Other Words, RE. So you'll find it. You'll see a a logo in the middle with the 4 pictures, you'll recognize me, or hopefully you recognize me. Some of you saw I updated my photos on there, so, but I'm in bright royal blue in that photo as well, so you'll kind of see that as well. From that, and just like it and request notifications, and you'll get a notification when we're going live from there. Yeah, and a couple of you are commenting on Mel's 5-second rule from that, so fabulous. Yeah, exactly as well. So let's move on to number 3, everyone, which is take action, right? Here's one tip I'm going to say is I'm going to ask you to start using action verbs, particularly on your to-do list. And I'm going to ask you to use specific action verbs. In other words, don't put on your to-do list contact buyer Bob. Put on your to-do list call buyer Bob. Don't put contact seller Susie. Put, text message seller Susie. By the way, I hope you now have realized too how wonderful video chatting is. I have never video chatted from my office so much as I have over the past week. And when there's lots of programs, everyone, please remember that some of these programs are platform specific. So obviously FaceTime requires that you be an Apple user. Google Hangouts requires that you have a Gmail account. Skype requires that you have a Microsoft account. So some of them are platform specific. Some of them you can easily get out. I mean, you can get a Gmail account in 2 seconds from that. But again, here's another platform. I've been talking about this one forever in class as well. Zoom, Z-O-O-M, and it's zoom.us, Z-O-O-M.us. So zoom.us. Zoom has a free account, which gives you 45 minutes on it of conferencing and has some wonderful features to it. Some of you have actual corporate accounts. Your company has accounts on Zoom that you can utilize. So as you start to take an actual action, start thinking about what our virtual world is really looking at and really reaching out to your clients. Again, imagine how nervous and anxious they are as well, all right? Particularly anyone who is in a transaction, right? Imagine that they need to move, they need to sell, they need to buy, etc. They're particularly anxious. They want to hear from you. They want to get, specific information from you on a regular basis. So there's a great action to take. The other thing is to remember, please don't put big, huge projects down as an action. Trust me, if I could undo the ripping of my office right now, I would absolutely do it. It is significant and important, everyone, that you take actions that you can accomplish over the next couple of weeks. Yes, I see a lot of people working on some major projects, and that might be a really great idea, but that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You're going to have to take one bite of those things and then maybe move on to the next elephant. So be careful, start looking at projects that I think are easier for you to accomplish and that you can really put your sort of actions or your activities in. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my eye on time as well here for you from that. So my next suggestion, everyone here, and this was also something that really helped me, was learning this sort of pyramiding technique to my actions, particularly when I found myself often in the position of coming up with these large tasks, these elephants in the room, and not necessarily knowing how to move through them. So in the pyramid technique, everyone, is starting at the top of the pyramid. If you pick that one major item, remember that underneath it, you should have 3 medium-sized action items, and the fundamental, the base of your pyramid should be 5 small actions, right? They can all relate to each other. They can all feed to each other. So what I wanted to share with you is the other handout is I took my sheet that uses this sort of pyramiding fashion, and I print this out, everyone. I use it every single day. I make one sheet for the week. I write the quarter and the week at the top. I left those spaces for you. And I create that pyramid on it. So that's, again, over in your handouts, over there, your goal to-do list. So it's taking a look at those big elephants, that big one main project. What are medium-sized projects that I want to get to? And many of those medium-sized projects are, the big one definitely goes to through the quarter. The medium-sized ones could go through several weeks of the quarter. But the small actions, the 5 actions, those are things I'm trying to accomplish every day to move that project forward. All right. So what are some of the projects that you want to move forward over the upcoming weeks, and how will you get about doing those? By the way, these are great skills to learn and implement for the future. When you go back to running your business and whatever our new normal is, these are great approaches. And as I said, I found this really helpful. And as I said, this is one thing that I still use the old-fashioned pen and paper. So I take and hang on, it's actually right here. This is how close I keep it. So I'll step off. So here's my Mel Robbins journal, everyone, that I keep, and I have my little tab in it, which, by the way, has sort of a realtor pin. But up on this side, I keep this is my contact list. All right. So these are the people that I rotate through and keeping my contact list. And then on the back side of it, I'm going to dump the whole thing. But the back side is my quarterly sheets. I'm going to dump the whole thing if I continue to try to show you. But and so here's the pen and paper that I keep beside me at all times. It has this wonderful little kind of elastic, and there's a million of these journals that you can go out and kind of look at, or just pull up an old notebook for yourself and create this, because as I said, you can get Mel's PDF out there. I've given you my handout. You can keep your contact list, as Larry said, from your CRM and your software program. By the way, is anything more appropriate now than what I have been saying for years in class as well? Is one of the attributes of any electronic program that you use, any app that you use, is that it be cross-platform for whatever you use and be cloud-based. Yeah, because you're all looking to kind of access it right now. Oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to read the comments. Yeah, guys had a couple comments and questions in here. There we go. There. Gina, you know what I will do is when I download everyone who is here, I'll send you the link to the Facebook page so you can find it as well. Rob, yeah, I got a couple of people who was there. Larry, another fabulous suggestion as well is getting an accountability partner, right? So, and what a great idea. Hop on a Zoom call, a Google Hangouts, a FaceTime, or whatever with your accountability. There's another great setting the stage for productivity. Make it your first activity early in the morning, and you'll be able to kind of then check in on each other and make sure that you're doing everything. So love that suggestion as well. Number 5, everyone, is make it available. And as I was just saying, in the cloud. When I looked at this program, everyone, and I saw that, I remembered that what I used to say, and I'll say it right now because many of you know me well enough to know that I have always talked about my mother in classes. So even though she's up there looking down on us right now, she's in the clouds. One of her favorite sayings was that she was in her 90s, everyone, sitting there with her iPad on her lap saying, well, put it in the cloud. Is it in the cloud? And she actually knew what that meant. She knew that her grandchildren were sharing pictures of her great grandchildren via the cloud and photo sharing and etc. But she knew that she could interact with us through cloud-based programming and cloud-based apps. And that's what's so important, is to be able to make it available. You know, you will be going out again, and you will be as mobile as you have always been, and it's going to be important for you to take these systems with you. So again, Evernote is a great one over there. Keep it accessible. Everyone, carry it forward. Make sure that you can utilize some of those things. I think I see some things popping up. So yep. So some of you are mentioning Slack, which is a great accountability. I use that as well in my mastermind group. That's there. Asana is another one that some of you I know utilize, which are cloud-based communication tools for things like accountabilities, but they also store information in there as well. Google, by the way, if you're not familiar, everyone, with Alex Camillo, Alex is a native. He's from Vermont, so many of you have seen him present. He's now a national speaker. Alex has a YouTube station, which is Agent Inner Circle, right? I think Agent Inner Circle. And Alex is now and has always been a huge Google user, right? It's actually how I met Alex. He and I were speaking at the same conference. He was doing a presentation on Google Apps, and I sort of snuck in the back of the room, and next thing you know, I'm asking questions. I was up there afterwards, and Alex and I have become good friends since then. But so if you go on YouTube and search for Alex's station, you will find that Alex makes an explanation. He also has a blog, I believe, under Agent Inner Circle. And he will explain the use of all these Google tools that you can utilize to put things in the cloud as well. If you are, and I happen to be a huge Google user as well. So I like that information as we go through. Number 6, everyone. I'm going to actually paraphrase this, everyone, to a person I greatly admire, and that is Marie Forleo. I've been following her for years on Marie TV, her YouTube station, and her blog, Marie Forleo, Forleo, I believe is how you spell it. And Marie has said this like for years now. It's actually now the name of her new best-selling book, called Everything is Figure Outable. Right? And she said, we have 2 wonderful little things in our handout. We have Google and YouTube, and it is truly something that is out there. So you have an opportunity to sit down and figure some things out. By the way, again, reach out to other people as well. I was on as early as this morning with a good friend of mine from the National Speakers Association to use an app that allowed me to have less glare on my glasses for you for the video camera. So, and Mike was very nice enough to reach back and give me some information on how I utilize that. So there are some wonderful things out there that you can utilize. Here's one that I came across just the other day, everyone. If you've not been on LinkedIn's Learning, which is their skill building platform, highly recommend it, everyone. But there was an entire course on real estate photography. And I know no one on this call needs this, but everyone on this call knows there's a lot of people out there who desperately need this course. You know, if we do not come back to a market that's as thriving as it has been in the last few years, we're going to need to bring back or raise up some skills to market real estate. And one of those skills is going to be more critical than it's ever been, and that is photography. The majority of your buyers for any listing you have are looking at that property in their hands, and as I say, swiping right or left, to use that dating app slogan, but based on the photography that you have of that listing. And so I thought, what a wonderful thing to go figure out over the next couple of weeks before you need to use it. Use it, you can try it in your own home, or maybe, maybe even just go over and get a video of, or some pictures of a current listing or a future listing. I hope I didn't violate Governor Baker's orders there, but I think you can go visiting people, right? But you can go out and look at that. Again, it's on LinkedIn. You just go on and search for their learning side, and then look for a real estate photography course, which is wonderful. I have a number of YouTube channels that I want, and I keep throwing them out. Alex was one of them. And I think, as everyone knows, I'm a podcast addict. And a lot of the things that I learned through listening to podcasts. What a great way. And by the way, if your office has to be shared, at your dining room table is your spouse who's also working at home, and your kids who are now homeschooling, and et cetera, everyone, put in some headsets, right? You can see mine are hanging right here by my mic, all right, that I sometimes throw in and listen to something, even though there isn't anyone disturbing me in my house. It's just easier to listen to them sometimes right there. And throw on a podcast for an hour or so and listen to that, and have everyone kind of do their quiet time, reading, sharing, listening, etc. And learn something new, figure something out. Look for the opportunities, everyone. I will share a very favorite saying of my mother's. As a matter of fact, I said it over a text to my brother recently, in the last couple of days or so. And I said to him, my mother said, you have to accomplish something every day. That was a motto that she lived by, right? You have to accomplish something every day. And there are opportunities out there. So one of the things you heard Jason make mention is reaching out to where some of your charitable organizations are right now, and those opportunities for us to help others, right? So instead of feeling bad for yourself and what a terrible situation you might be in, maybe there's people that are in a lot worse situation, and there's an opportunity to help in those situations. If you don't follow Anna Jones, Tacoma Jones on Instagram, everyone, I highly recommend it. I recommend it normally when she's actually actively out there selling, listing and selling. She's a broker owner and an active salesperson in Tacoma, Washington. That's the name, Tacoma Jones. But she is now, right now, it has always been very active in the charitable organizations in her community of Tacoma, Washington. And you watch her and you realize, even though they are themselves as well in a shutdown status, that she is still accomplishing things. One of her favorite charities happens to be Snacks for Kids, which is after school and snack programs. And she is making sure that those are still, in essence, funded with food. And so she's got drop-off areas, got her car sitting there kind of open. You can dump things in, so there's no need to have contact with it. And she's getting out and getting things. Please remember, everyone, that many of those children who are not in school now have no access to some of the only food they have. So look for those opportunities. Find out, what you can do. And again, as I would say to you, remember, everything you accomplish today makes tomorrow's business possible, right? So you're literally fighting for your own future by looking at what some of the opportunities are and available to you. I said I was going to bring my Calm app back from that. And so I want to bring it back right here. And I want to stress everyone to be easy on yourself and easy on others. And I was sharing this morning pre-webinar with my phone call with Sandy Craven, your director, and I said, I almost lost it yesterday with someone that I was on. And I said, I'm sure what he was speaking or doing was out of his own stress, and my reaction would have been out of my own stress. And I only thank God that I didn't lose it in front of him, because I'm not sure I could have taken those words back. So I think it's really important to be kind to ourselves. And this is a very stressful situation, very stressful situation. And I think we need to ease off the pressure on ourselves. So while I'm sitting here going, rah, 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 get up and work and etc., I also want you to take a break. I want you to take time off, right? I want you to start and end your day at a certain time. I want you to have relaxation activities. Go binge watch a movie, play board games with the kids, go take a walk outside. Or as I said, I'm going to bring back my Calm app. My Calm app has something that I had never used before, but have started using over the next few days. They have little breathing sections, and you can set the time, and it literally sort of plays some background music and takes a deep breath. And it is amazing how that can reset you. So I think it's important, everyone, for us to do that, and also to share that with others, share the fact, so again, you need to absorb some of their sort of letting go themselves as you do, and then you need to get them and yourself sort of easing that pressure off of you. So I think that's significantly important. And I think it's even more important for some of you who are on this call who have maybe are sitting here trying to listen to me, and you've got kids and dogs and spouses and et cetera, an environment you are not used to on a regular basis. It's important for everyone to understand and realize that that everyone, including your children, even your little ones, I think know. I was on a FaceTime with my niece out in Santa Monica, and they've been, on their lockdown a couple of days earlier than we were. And she has a 1.5-year-old who literally ran over during our call, picked up his father's coffee and threw it on the ground, all over the rug, et cetera. And I said to her, he knows that you guys are not supposed to be here, that you're supposed to be gone at work, and he should be with his nanny, and he should be at the park and playing. He knows something's different, right? So give him some place to give that sort of pressure or that release as well, and make sure that we can all kind of deal with it from there. So Larry says too, he's been dealing with some of these things, everyone, from his podcast. I think Larry, again, broker-talk.com. Hopefully I'm reading that right. From there. So we have some of those. Can I send some of my podcast resources? Yes. Katie, I'll put it in the follow-up email that I send out to the attendees with the Facebook page. I'll put you some of my podcasts. I won't put them all because that would take me till next week. Again, some of you always laugh at me when I go through some of those things. Jonathan, am now using the paid version of Calm. I liked it so much that I decided to up it. I'm not sure specifically of the differences, so I hope the breathing is on the whole version of it. Some people like Headspace as well, which has a really nice free version that go through. And then I'm not sure if what was the one? The guy who's on the news. I can't think of Dan Harris. I'm not sure if his has a free version, but a lot of a lot of people kind of look at those as well. And I may have missed you, Tanya, if you go through. So if you have not left to jump to your office meeting, yes, this is being recorded and you can jump on the recording to get through. So we're definitely doing that as well. So you can go through and kind of take a look at that. There we go. So it's actually two things I want to take just a minute and to go through on the analyze section, everyone, for you. I think this is a great opportunity to understand where your market is, where it has been, so you understand where it's going. You know, frankly, I have this theory about real estate in the news media. I think that the news media loves, in general, loves to report anything bad. You know that adage, bad news sells papers. And they will jump on bad news if it's there. They'll publicize good news, but they'll jump on bad news. And frankly, we haven't had a lot of bad news, but you have often seen if any number dips, which it tends to seasonally anyways in the real estate industry, they're jumping on that like there's no tomorrow. You need to know what the reality of those numbers are. If they're going down, you need to know that. If they're stable, you need to know and understand that. Now's the time to do something like learn RPR and go out and make sure you understand what those reports were like in your market over the last 3 months, the beginning of this year. What are they like right now? And therefore you can make an analysis of what they're going. What were they like this time last year, right? So that you can really understand where the market's going. That information is going to be critical for your buyers and sellers or potential buyers and sellers. It's going to be critical for your business. The second part of analysis, I'd like you to put prioritize right to the top of your pyramid on your to-do list is, I'd like you to go through your business finances right now. Right now, everyone, I'd like you to look at every dollar and cent that went in and out of your business. My good friend Evan Fuchs, who's one of the people on In Other Words with me, shared the other day on the Facebook, and when we get the Facebook page, everyone, you'll see the recording of that you can share. Evan shared what happened to his business in the down market of 2006 and how much of his expenses he was able to cut once he realized it. Guys, don't lose money right now because you signed up for something you didn't ever even use, but it's still getting credited off your credit card. And it's only a couple bucks. So what difference does it make? Well, a couple bucks here and a couple bucks there makes a lot of information. You know, it just really adds up. So start analyzing your business, prioritize what you need to spend money on or you don't need to spend money on, and start really looking at it. By the way, that's called P&L, a profit and loss, everyone, something that we really always should have been good at. Now's the time to learn. Again, figure outable, go out and look for some basic accounting. Small Business Association's website is a wonderful place to go out and take a look at that, or simply get your bank and credit card statements out to your business, and hopefully you all have set up the system that I've always, again, said that you should be setting up, which is separate bank accounts and separate credit cards for your business than your personal. And, you know, and then paying yourself a salary over into your personal out of that. By the way, a very favorite of mine system is, I use it myself, is Mike Mikhailovich's, and don't ask me how to spell that. I'll try to remember to put it in that resource page that I send out. But his book is Profit First. So you'll find it on Amazon. You can get an Audible ebook, Amazon Profit First. And Mike does a really great explanation of how you can set up a really simplified accounting system to make that happen. But now's the time, everyone, before you spend the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months or even a year spending money where you did not need to spend it and literally potentially put yourself out of business because of it. Analyze those numbers. And last, everyone, here's what I want to leave you with. Attitude is everything. right? You need to have, and here's what I'm going to say, everyone, you need to have a realistic, optimistic attitude. Don't be Pollyanna, as they say. Don't be overly optimistic, but don't be negative Nelly either. You need to have a realistic, optimistic attitude. Get down to work. Join me in the next upcoming 4 weeks, 4 Tuesdays, everyone. Same time, same place. If you're not signed up already, gbar.org. We're going to be doing some other basic fundamentals. Share with me on Facebook, everyone. I'll put my pages up there. I should have put the in other words up there. There's my links, everyone, so you can find me on all those social medias. Let me know what you're doing. Please reach out, email me, message me, whatever you need. If I can be of any help to anyone out there, I am absolutely looking to be of help to you. Go out, have a great day, even though it's a different day than we've ever experienced before. I wish you the best, everyone. Thanks for joining me.